If you guys enjoy what I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free and easy to do. Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. We cover the stories both big and small, the epic and the cute, the silly and the tragic. I hope you all enjoy the ride, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. With the risk of everything you do being undone dealt with, the Warrior of Light and his allies head to Alexander's final core. The defenses that the Illuminati have put in place are top-notch, complete with the Cruise Chaser, which is the Illuminati version of the Transformer Starscream, an amount that really should have been a reward for this fight instead of something that's put on the Mog Station. After destroying the Illuminati's very expensive machine in a fight that Sid and the others watch from a safe distance away, you all get an up-close look at Alexander's third core, and Sid sees just how massive it is. For it to get that big, it must have been drawing in ether at a super fast rate, and with the power that it's stored up, it'll probably be able to regenerate itself even faster than you can break it. Instead of wasting time trying, Sid figures that since the control room has a way to control the primal, it should have a way to turn it off too. Of course, that'll mean bringing Round Rock's back since she's the only one who can use the Enigma Codex. It's not something that any of you really want to put her through again, but Quick Things needs to be stopped, and you can't really think of another way. Speak of the devil and he will appear, and sure enough, Quick Things shows up with his book and cat in tow, claiming that the future shows that things are going to end very badly for you all regardless of your plans. All other passages to the control room are blocked, so to get there you'll have to go right where Quick Things wants you to, and his predictions say that you all die on your attempt. He goes to float away, but as he does, his cat knocks the book out of his hand and falls down in front of you all, similar to what happened with Backrix. Backrix picks up the book that Quick Things has been carrying around, and he realizes that it's actually his journal, the one that had been knocked out of his hand when you all took a trip to the past. So the entire time, the only reason Quick Things has known what was going to happen was because he had the book that Backrix had written about your whole mission. In other words, he's not a prophet at all. All of his predictions came from the book. Granted, this book thing is a big time paradox in itself since Quick Things couldn't have gotten the book until after Backrix wrote the book, but the things that Backrix wrote in the book were a direct result of what Quick Things did after having the book. But since thinking like that would give all of us a headache, we're just gonna let this little time snafu slide. What's even more confusing than the book is why Shanoa, who is also Schrodinger, set all of this nonsense into motion. For starters, the cat should have died from falling off of the primal, but fall damage has only killed like 3 people in the game so far, so I can let that part slide too. Quick Things must have found the cat when he found the book, and he decided to take her in, but that still doesn't explain why the cat is causing all of these time shenanigans by knocking the book around so much. Figuring that out won't help with dealing with Alexander's core, and that's the only thing that Sid is concerned about at the moment. And since the pages in the journal don't say anything about you all dying on your trip to the control room, Sid is ready to get things set up to destroy Alexander for good, so you all head out to get prepared. Things are not as good as you may think, however. Even though Quick Things lost the book and Round Rocks, he's apparently had the power to use the Enigma Codex all along, and he activates it so he'll be ready for when you come back. Once you're all as prepared as you can be, the Warrior of Light, Sid, Biggs, and Wedge head back into the primal to attack the core. Quick Things is ready for you all, and he stops time, summons a smaller version of Alexander, and sets it to fire on you all while you can't move. Time restarts, giving you all just enough time to avoid taking a point-blank Kamehameha to the face, which would have definitely murdered you all. Since the sneak attack failed, the mini Alexander vanishes into a rift in time, one that stays open. Instead of waiting around for it to reappear and hit you all with another sneak attack, one that you might not be able to dodge, the Warrior of Light heads into the rift to fight it, while Sid and the others clear a path to the control room. Fighting this thing that's the embodiment of Alexander's power is not something easily overcome. The Primal takes this fight as a test to determine whether or not you deserve to have a future, which if you fail, I'm pretty sure that you'd be dead, so you don't really have a choice but to win. Which of course you do. When the Warrior of Light pops back out of the rift, Y'shtola and Round Rocks both have joined Sid and the others. So with the way clear, you all head into the control room, where Quick Thinks is more than happy to reveal that he has always been able to control the Primal, so nothing can stop him from rewinding time. A surprisingly still alive Mayday makes her entrance by shooting Quick Thinks' guards, and since he revealed that he can control the Codex without Round Rocks, she understands why he had used the girl instead of doing it himself from the start. Controlling the Primal at full power could very likely destroy the person who tried, so he hadn't wanted to risk his own life until he didn't have a choice. But he is controlling it now, and he thinks that nothing can stop him, so Mayday proves him wrong by shooting him in the head. With him down, that gives Round Rocks the chance to undo what Quick Thinks has started and shut down the Primal's final core. Without it constantly drawing in ether, Alexander has started burning through what it had stored pretty fast, and it won't be long before it shuts down and fades away entirely. Something none of you want to be around for, but before you head out, Round Rocks wants to know, how did Mayday survive after you all left? She's not all that sure herself. The place had started shaking and she'd gotten thrown somewhere dark. She had been unconscious there until a few minutes ago. She had probably gotten knocked down a garbage chute or something, but all that really matters is that she's okay. With the mission a success, it's past time for you all to head home. But of course things can't possibly be that simple, and what should have been a very dead Quick Thinks reaches out and activates the Enigma Codex again. Apparently he had done a lot of tinkering on his own body, and what you had thought was a weird looking mask turns out to actually be his head. A head that can survive a point-blank gunshot. The Goblin reactivates the core and attempts to use Alexander's power to go back to the past, but the Primal decides not to obey him, something that it's apparently been able to do all along. It also does something that you failed to do, and finishes off Quick Thinks. It makes Sid think that the Primal has a mind of its own, which it does, and just like Mayday had thought, that mind belongs to Dan. He's really been in there the whole time watching over her, but the two of them only get to talk for a moment before the core overloads and starts to draw in ether so fast that Y'shtola's afraid that it'll drain Eorzea dry in a few minutes if it's not stopped. With it being in the state that it's in, she doesn't think that any of you can stop it now. But Mayday thinks that this was all part of Dayan's plan, and she realizes what he wanted her to do, and that is throw herself into the core. She merges with it, and she tells you all to leave as she's drawn into what Dayan calls Alexander's dream. It's a place outside of time where Alexander watches the past, present, and future, seeing each and every possible outcome for every situation. And since he's a part of the Primal, Dayan sees it all too. Since Alexander was born from the desire to create a perfect world, it's watched everything unfold to see what path would give the result that it wanted. It saw everything from the Illuminati ruling things to what would have happened if he had stepped in and stopped Dalamud. And after studying every possible outcome, it realized that the only chance there was for a perfect world to be born was if Alexander himself ceased to exist. So it decided to erase itself, since the amount of ether that it consumes by just existing would eventually destroy everything. So instead of taking that risk, it decided to leave the fate of the world in the hands of the Warrior of Light. Having seen him in action, Mayday can understand why. Knowing that he would eventually be the source of a major calamity, Alexander sent the cat Shanoa out to put time back on the right path. With that done, there's only one task left. Since the horn was a part of the third core of Alexander, it will be able to regrow itself instantly by drawing in ether from all around the world. The only way to stop it is to seal it away in a moment in time that would loop forever and ever. And that will trap Mayday and Dan as well, something she's perfectly fine with. Outside, Biggs and Wedge notice that everything inside of Alexander's barrier has stopped moving, like time's frozen in place. Round Rocks and the others have made their way back to Idleshire, and while none of them are happy about Mayday's fate, she did stop Alexander, so that's a good thing at least. Round Rocks is of course taking this hard, and she runs off somewhere, so you all go to track her down. It's not hard to find her since she isn't exactly hiding, she just wanted to be alone to think. When you all were running out of Alexander, she had found the glowstone in her pocket, but it won't glow for her anymore. Sid thinks it's because the experience that she had with the Illuminati changed her view of the world. The Enigma Codex was made from one man's desire to build a perfect world, and its knowledge is sealed off from anyone who doesn't fully believe in what it promotes. Both Quick Thinks and Mayday, when she was younger, never questioned the teachings of the Codex, but after what happened, Round Rocks can't really blindly follow anything anymore. The glowstone staying dark in her hands is a sign of her growing into adulthood. That doesn't mean she has to quit dreaming of a better world, but it's time for her to start working on building it with her own hands. Since she was working on that anyway, she's perfectly fine with that. She just wishes she could give the glowstone back to Mide since the woman had liked it so much. But with time being frozen inside of the barrier, that would be impossible. Except for the fact that the cat Shanoa shows up again, and she's been able to come and go freely within Alexander with no problems. Since it can't really hurt to try, Round Rocks gives the cat the stone and lets her take it to her friend, while you all wonder if Mide will ever find her way out of Alexander. They do have access to every moment in time, so they may find one where they can step out and live their life without Alexander potentially destroying the world. But for now, Ishtola and Sid both have their own stuff to do, so they head off, but not before Ishtola hands you a book that Backrix has been looking for. Since you like delivering stuff, she figures that you won't mind. The goblin's happy to get the book, but he's surprised when he reads about a tribe from a long time ago, founded by two people who stepped out of a giant machine with a glowing stone in their hands. And their names were Dan and Mide. So apparently they found their perfect world somewhere deep in the past, and they managed to get Round Rocks' gift too. This concludes the story of Alexander. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and donate to the channel so I can keep bringing you guys new content. Until next time guys, later.